Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between mousesports' MorroW versus EG Axslav here on Metalopolis. EG Axslav spawning as the red Protoss player, meanwhile we have MorroW spawning as the blue Zerg. And just a question out there, do you guys like this overhead on the top like this for the best of 3 matches, or would you rather have the names over here? If it's not a best of 3, I'll probably just consider using the other version where the names are down here, but for games that are part of a series, I will go ahead and include it up in here. Anyways, excuse me, a mouse MorroW originally a Terran player a couple of months back, and a lot of people questioned his transferring from Terran to Zerg as he kind of had a little bit of difficulties really playing that race. We do see an SC or a probe now making its way out from Axslav, so it will be a very, very fast scout after that pylon, so Axslav should know what MorroW is going to be doing. But as of late, I'm talking about MorroW. MorroW has really impressed me recently with a lot of his Zerg tactics. His tactics and style seems to follow along the lines of Idra, just playing a very macro-intensive game, being able to keep on top of spawn larva, and once a Zerg player is able to just not miss any spawn larvas, it becomes really, really difficult to stop. We saw a couple games where he had lost like anywhere from like 15 to 20 drones, and then able to come back and just simply out macro his opponent anyways. MorroW currently getting up a spawning pool. Extractor may be coming in a little bit later, but the ability of MorroW will be he can train up 4 Zerglings in time to perhaps try to destroy any pylon that Axslav may be trying to go for. We do see MorroW now just moving around with this Overlord here. I'm taking a look. He needs to see if gas is being warped in and how many assimilators there are. A second pylon now coming in, so Axslav sticking to that very basic Protoss build, Cybernetics core after that second pylon. It is the strongest there, and oh, a hatchery was able to be placed down even though there were no Zerglings, so a little bit of a miscue there by Axslav, as Axslav now just forced to just continue to do some scouting as there are no extractors down here. We should be getting some Zerglings up in just a moment, and also training up a queen as well, as that will definitely help out MorroW and be able to handle any zealots that should be coming out of there, but he does not have to worry about it for quite some time. MorroW, knowing the timing on the zealots, knowing the timing off of one gate, and taking a look on the inside of Axslav's base, knows that he would not be able to hide a pylon. Excuse me, he wouldn't be able to hide a pylon for any sort of proxy rush there. We do have one zealot now just holding position. The drone may simply try to mineral path his way through, and he in fact does. Gonna take a look around on the inside of the space even further, sees that there is a second assimilator already being warped in, completed, as 3 probes now transfer into that location. MorroW's drone needs to make it out of there in a hurry, otherwise the Stalker is going to be able to get a lot of damage in just a moment, as Axslav warping in another gateway. MorroW is also getting the second queen. One queen now being transferred off to that low ground instead. Will be able to spawn larva in just a moment as well. And MorroW already on his way to developing a very strong economy. He's continuing to power drone, it looks like. And with spine crawlers and overlords and Zerglings in place, he should be able to respond and try to build some spine crawlers with those drones rather quickly. Spine crawlers do take 50 seconds to build, but they are very, very durable, especially against zealots, where zealots normally deal 16 damage per attack, but because of that double armor, only does about 12 damage per attack. As I forgot to get a glass of water. So anyways, hopefully no more interruptions, and I will make sure to have a glass of water for game 2 in this matchup. MorroW still just building up a lot of drones. You can see the army still rather small. Zerglings sitting at the Xel'Naga watchtowers, making sure if any units do come out that the Overlord will either spot it with if there is a warp prism play, or any units walking along these major pathways. And I think MorroW, with his economic lead, sitting on 30 drones compared to 25 and queuing up 8 more now, is going to transition very well into this mid game, and this is the style and strategy that I really appreciate from MorroW. MorroW knowing the balance between macro and micro, and with that very strong balance is able to accomplish a lot in a very, very small amount of time. You can see his economy is just simply growing and growing, seeing that 37 harvesters, 6 more drones. and also getting that evolution chamber just in case there is going to be any Stargate play. A lot of sentries by Axslav though, so this normally tells me that Axslav will be going for Colossus in just a moment. And that's one thing that I wanted to mention about patch 1.3.3. Most of the times, 9 times out of 10, you pretty much knew what your opponent was going to be trying to go for. Prior to patch 1.3.2, you knew that there was going to be Colossus with a lot of gateway units, but now, with the help and the addition of the Archon as a massive unit that also has +1 range compared to before, going the Twilight Council tech path actually makes a lot more sense. Psystorm, very effective at dealing damage, but on top of that, Archons are just simply very powerful against Zerg, especially if you get those shield upgrades off of the Forge. And because Archons have so many hit points, 350 shields, 10 hit points, you're able to micro them back and try to salvage and save them. Archons also move fairly quickly as well for such a large unit. And I really wish I would see a lot more Archon play coming in from more of the Protoss players. I think according to Blizzard's little help guide, Archons are supposed to be weak to Ultralisk, but the problem with that is that Ultralisk do not deal any additional damage towards the Psionic Archon. Also, Fungal Growth, unless you chain them like absolutely crazy, does little to no damage as well, as Axslav attempts to establish a third base as well. So it is going to be 3 bases for MorroW. It looks like the pylons are already coming in, and now just 1 probe of Axslav simply waiting for the additional minerals. And now MorroW, with a very small army, going to just try to put pressure. You can see the Zerglings now simply swarming in, perhaps going to take down one of those pylons. They're not going to be able to do very much as the Zerglings are coming in. And there's the force fields, and 4 force fields preventing those Zerglings from being able to run away. And Axslav looking just brilliant with those force fields, cleaning up many of those early Zerglings. And anytime you can trade energy for units, it is always a very beneficial thing, as the energy is going to replenish while the units will never come back again. And those, I believe many of those sentries were already at maximum energy anyways. This hatchery is already up, another queen already there spawning larvae as well. A sea of overlords hiding off on the left side over here, as the scouting phoenix, just able to take a look at a couple of those overlords and not really do all that much either. We are getting MorroW into an even stronger economy, 57 drones compared to 48. Army-wise, though, Axslav could easily push out, but the problem is his army consists of so many sentries that there's not enough beef and DPS behind this army here. 10 sentries are very useful to play a very defensive game, but it's not going to be nearly offensive enough. And unless Axslav either goes down the tech path, the Twilight Council tech path, or the robotics facility tech path, I cannot see him being able to outswarm the Zerg at this stage in time. MorroW now with the pneumatized carapaces making their way out, and this is going to be an even better position for MorroW, as MorroW now going to pretty much see 70 to 90% of the map that is not currently occupied by Axslav. Phoenix is still wandering around still. You can see Axslav doing a great job making sure to wall off this location here, making it so that Zerglings couldn't run in and get damage into the mineral line back over here. And now this mineral patch is most likely the next mineral patch to be taken, as Banelings hiding off. I do not think those Banelings are going to be able to find their target at all. There's already 2 photon cannons in play, one shot from these 2 photon cannons each. As long as they're targeting the same, Banelings will do damage. And with that pylon in play as well, there's simply not enough damage on these Banelings for them to take them down. I think it's 85 damage per Baneling with the level 1 weapons upgrade. And now just a Zergling running around back and forth. Perhaps a burrowed Baneling would be useful later as well. Oh, it's going to be a carpet bombing run. And is he actually doing multiple carpet bombing? I believe so. MorroW has multiple overlords set up to carpet bomb in multiple locations, and that is going to be very, very helpful indeed if it's able to work. Zerglings are now going to try to position themselves and run through. As overlords already dropping Zerglings, so the ventral sacks of MorroW. You can see that MorroW has a much stronger army now. Just a ton of Zerglings as Stalkers simply try to warp in, but the Stalkers are not going to be very successful at all. Banelings dropped off, but nearly not enough damage has been dealt. The Zerglings now going after targets, and now the Banelings are rolling in, destroying the photon cannons and a lot of the probes over there. Another group, another overlord now perhaps going to try to position itself over here, but it looks like there's already photon cannons in position as well. As long as MorroW is able to drop straight into the mineral line, it may work. Is he going to drop right now? Yes, I believe he's dropping right there, and you can see how many workers were killed. 67 workers. Wow. And Axslav says GG. That was perhaps the fastest GG that I've seen in terms of 20 seconds ago. I would not have been able to predict it. So MorroW, just absolutely amazing with that timing there. Zerglings, Banelings in multiple locations. I think there are Baneling runs over here as well. Yeah, you can see the Banelings taking down some of the sentries, going after even more overlords here, just dropping off into this location and then into this location as well. And sorry, I do not have a separate cameraman to keep track of 3 carpet bombing runs in 3 separate locations at the same time, but that was absolutely brilliant. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. MorroW really getting stronger and stronger with Zerg. I am really impressed. I know a lot of people said that he should stick to Terran, but after that impressive play against Axslav, I don't think that Axslav really could have done much. He had the photon cannons in his mineral line. He had the photon cannons in his mineral line. He was able to detonate some of those Banelings using those photon cannons, but still not enough. And those 2-1 upgraded Zerglings just simply running through. Same thing with the Banelings. Banelings dealing 90 damage per attack. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and game 1 in this best of 3 series between Axslav and MorroW. Stay tuned for game 2 as MorroW takes the early lead.